Content disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in the media or comments on this channel are those of the speakers or authors and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcaster. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. This channel's owner claims no copyright to said content. The broadcaster of this channel cannot be held accountable for the copyrighted content. The broadcaster of this channel is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify, but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this channel. If you have a complaint about something or find your content is being used incorrectly, please contact the broadcaster prior to making a copyright claim. Any infringement was not done on purpose and will be rectified to all parties' satisfaction. Fair use disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. The copyright laws of the United States recognizes a fair use of copyrighted content. Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act states, notwithstanding the provisions of Sections 106 and 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction in copies of phonorecords or by any other means specified by that section, for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright.
Alteria Woods, Janet Wilson, Robin White, April Webster, Latasha Nicole Walton, Pamela Shantae Turner, Geraldine Townsend, Brianna Taylor, LaRonda Sweat, Tamika Lachey Simpson, Michelle Lee Shirley, Shukri Ali Saidi, Morgan London Rankins, Salah Ridgway, Crystal Danielle Ragland, LaWanna Phillips, India Nelson, Jessica Nelson Williams, Marquisha McMillan, Keisha Michael, Charlena Lyles, India Taker, Betty Jones, Helen Jones, Radell Jones, Atiana Jefferson, Nika Holbert, Megan Hockaday, Kiwi Herring, Carrie-Ann Hitham, Yvette Henderson, Maya Hall, Francine Graham, Sandy Guardiola, Janisha Unville, Kareem Gaines, Cynthia Fields, Monique Janae Decker, Angel Viola DiCarlo, Deborah Danner, DeCynthia Clements, Alexia Christian, Joni Block, Dorisha Blackwell, want us, white allies, to trust the police department, to have faith in the police department. You want us to have that so that you don't do anything about it. And this is really going to be addressing our quote-unquote white allies. Because if you claim to be a white ally, then you need to know what an ally does, right? And an ally is a person that advocates for those that may not have the same types of rights or privileges to get the justice, the equality, the inclusion that they rightfully deserve. So allies are the ones that use their white privilege, their white inherited entitlement to call their white colleagues out when there's corruption, when there's lascivious acts being done, being implemented by their own. They don't become complicit and not say anything because it doesn't directly affect them. That is not an ally. That is, to me, what we call in sociology would be a fair weather liberal, like a branch. They act like they're strong, but if the wind goes a little too much, then rather than them break that branch, they're going to shift to the left, or they're going to shift to the right, because it's really about protecting their own when it boils down to it. That's a fair weather liberal. You white allies, you think that you're all weather liberals because you call yourself Democrats and you vote blue. Well, it's one thing for you to call yourself that and you vote blue, but what do you do for us, for the Sonya Massey-Another, that you blatantly see that one of your own kind took a gun, put and aimed it towards the face of a melanated, unarmed, non-threatening black woman, and then didn't want his partner, who was just as complicit as he is, to do anything about it. As a matter of fact, those two reminded me of the scene from Crash with Ryan Philippe and Matt Dillon. I would encourage you white allies to check that movie out. Sandra Bullock was in it as well. Terrence Howard and Dandy Newton was in it. Loretta Devine. So it's a nice cast, right? It's great actors. They all played their role, right? And I would encourage you to look at that scene and pay attention to the entire movie as to how Matt Dillon became the corrupt cop that he was, and how detrimental it was for his partner to remain silent while he was doing what he was doing to those of melanated descent. So I'm not going to take it away from the movie because I want you to watch it. And I want you to come back to me in the comments and tell me what you thought about it. Because that's what's going on now. And you wonder why Babylon is falling. You wonder why every time you turn on TV there's some type of disturbance or chaos. The chickens are coming home to roost. The domestic terrorism is at its peak. And that's what this is, Whyte America. They terrorize and enjoy terrorizing people of color because they know you won't hold them accountable. You would rather blame the victim. But what did they do? Did they not comply? You look at this video, and if you can come back and tell me where she was non-compliant and she deserved being shot in the face, then we can have a discussion. But when you come back to my channel with your comments, be respectful, of course. And I hear you say some nonsense like, well, they're not all like that. We're going to truly have some conversations on our Zooms, in our Patreon, because we need to have a discord. We need to have that dialogue, real honest life, real authentic life, so I can shut that down. I can shut that down because it makes no sense. That's detrimental to eradicating racism, what you should be doing, because your people created it so that you can continue to oppress and suppress a whole group of people for your advantage, for your economic gain. So Sonya Massey and they want to do something to me. And I ask you, white allies, how would you feel being under the microscope like that? When you use the right language, you enunciate correctly, your tone is on point, very non-threatening, and because you have melanin in your skin, there's a danger you won't go home. You won't see your kids. You won't see your mama. You won't see your family. White allies, how would you feel? And I really welcome your comments. I encourage you to share and subscribe, of course. But I do. I want to hear what you're saying. I want you to truly justify how Sonya Massey brought that on herself. And until next time.